Alrighty. Is everybody ready to begin?
Nervous, but yeah, ready.
Yeah,
I'm
let's
ready.
do this.
Alright, perfect. So just standard protocol, essentially mute up so that way you guys can make sure to hear everything when not actually talking in character. Just so that way you make sure that you hear everything that happens.
Okay.
So if everyone can mute up now. As we begin our journey, our heroes, or so they believe that they are, stand in a cold meadow. Not even the sun has started shining. The sky is clear of all clouds. You can smell the morning dew on the grass below your feet. You all stand in front of this wall of trees, spanning as far as the eye can see. In front of you lies two dead trees that have collapsed onto each other, creating almost a natural doorway. You all have been given the task of finding the sword that has killed the forsaken forest queen. You were warned that there is a curse to befall those who are unwilling and undeserving. As to what that means, no one really knows. As you enter into the forest for your mission, the birds chirping, the squirrels running about through the trees across you, chasing after each other. You find yourself on a beaded path. No true knowing of where it goes. Quad, give me a perception.
Ah, crap. Perception. Looking at an 11.
Okay. As you all enter in, Quad, you end up feeling a acorn just come whacking you in the back of the neck as you kind of walk in, catching you completely off guard. Also, if you guys wouldn't mind putting your names in the chat window for your characters, so that way I don't call you by what your Discord names are, that would also be awesome. So what do you do getting whacked in the back of the neck, completely caught off guard?
You would see just... Is it... Have we entered in? Is it a... Is there a thick canopy of trees above us? Can I see sky?
Above you, the tree lines intertangle as the branches themselves kind of bow in and out. You can see some of the sky, like the blue of the sky, but there's not like a distinguishing, like if there's birds above or anything like that.
Gotcha. You would see me just look up in confusion, rubbing the back of my neck, just looking around, like trying to figure out if it came from above, if it was thrown, if there's any kind of animal or creature or angry squirrel nearby or anything like that.
You kind of just see like the squirrels running around chirping, doing their little like weird squirrel laugh, or at least it feels like a laugh. You begin to hear like whispers. The air of the words almost hitting the hair follicles on the back of the neck. Queen, they're here.
I've always hated squirrels. They give me the creeps. I've always hated squirrels.
So as we hear this voices coming out of the trees and up, down, and all the ways around the forest, Aaron Greensword is thinking about all the things he has seen on his future campaigns and his wild runs around the world where he has been. He remembers reading about creatures that dwelled in this type of forests. But as he sees the squirrels, he's just calming himself. It's just squirrels, just squirrels.
So as you all keep kind of moving down this passageway, you guys come across a couple of trees. There are like elven like runes carved in through the tree lines. You are standing in front of a little plaza area, for lack of a better word, where the trees kind of round about completely trunk to trunk, creating almost a perfect circle. The archway that lies in front of you seems to be the only way in or out. Yeah, let me not get too far ahead of myself and give you too much information. What do you do?
How big is this clearing or circle or area?
It's a perfect circle, about 30 feet in diameter. The tree line is almost a perfect circle.
Does it look natural? Does it look natural or planned?
Yes, completely. Everything kind of looks natural. It's almost surreal, to be rather frank. It's weird to see something like this in nature itself. The sunlight kind of comes in directly into the center, but everything around is completely shaded.
You would see Ragram look almost peaceful for a second, looking in here, just like I almost picture it as just kind of almost like an eerily peaceful area. You'd see him look almost peaceful for a second and then realize what this place reminds him of in his past. And you would almost see, if you could see inside of him, you would almost see a tear start to roll down his face, but then he just kind of shakes his head and shakes it off and just steels himself against that feeling and the memories of his past.
Give me a perception check. Or does anyone know Elvish?
I don't.
No,
I do. I was just gonna say that something related to that. But yeah, my character knows English.
Okay, so you can kind of make out the words in the that have been etched into the wood that creates this like archway. It reads, "If you speak my name, you destroy me. What am I?" And as you read those words, the light in the center of the circle starts to beam down even hotter. For those of you in armor, the armor you are wearing, the metal that you have on, is starting to heat up, almost giving a light cooking to your skin.
Do I know if this is? Do I know, or can I roll to see if this is something magical? If I know anything arcana about it, if it's arcane?
Yeah, sure.
That would be a 21.
Okay, it's definitely arcane. It's essentially at a 21. You can definitely tell it's an arcane puzzle. That those puzzles that are of arcane nature aren't arcane because it's fun. It's because they're supposed to be rather deadly.
So in other words, if I get it wrong, I'm dead.
Possibly. Although, I will admit, you have 2 rounds before something bad goes wrong.
Thurgrund is instinctively taking a step back as he feels like the hide armor on him just kind of warming unnaturally. And he looks around the archway and the writing to see if there's anything else that might give them a clue or that would tip him off to what's going on.
Okay, so what are you trying to do exactly? Are you trying to do perception, history? Are you trying, what exactly is your character doing?
You said it looked all mostly natural, so I think like a nature check just to see if there's anything else he can pick up.
All right, go ahead.
18.
Okay. You can tell that though it seems natural, it looks like the trees were like planted in this manner. Like that the etchings obviously were of not natural origin, but of some sort of human element or being element. So you can definitely tell it's some sort of puddle or riddle.
Okay. And could you just repeat what the riddle said?
If you speak my name, you destroy me. What am I?
Do I hear? Do we hear anything at all, or is it eerily quiet?
You can only hear the rustling of the wind against the trees. No birds, no nothing.
I've got a really low wisdom, but I've got a high intelligence, so I think I would kind of unwisely take a step forward and just kind of throw in caution to the wind in a sense, and kind of look back at the other two and just the only thing that I know that destroys itself when you say its name, silence. You say silence and you destroy the silence.
And as the word silence comes out of your mouth, your armor had heated up almost to the point, for those of you wearing metal, almost to the point where the metal was almost completely red. And as soon as you say silence, the armor instantly cools, leaving minor scars. You would definitely feel the heat from the scars, but only minor scars compared to what was literally about to happen. And the sun goes back up. The trees that lied in front of you with the riddle essentially stand back up. And in front of you lies a metal, like a stone slate in the center of the room. And on the opposite side of where you are, the trees almost move on their own, revealing an additional doorway.
So as the arcane magic dissipates and our armors, at least I'm wearing chainmail. I mean, chain scales. I think it's chain shirt. Sorry, chain shirt.
Yeah, the chain shirt.
Yeah, I'm left, as you said, with this searing pain, or at least minor pain of what it would have been. I'm feeling like a lot of stings around my neck, around my chest, around my back, all over, almost all over my body, and the pain that this magic was causing, it couldn't let me think. It couldn't let me um, try and help solve this mystery. And as Ragrum said, silence. It just popped into my head. Of course, it had to be. And seeing uh, the forest move on its own, or at least the trees, I'm like starting to center in what maybe it's going to happen next.
Wonderful.
Thurgrun looks over at Ragrum and just kind of gives him a nod and says, well done, friend.
Much appreciated.
So are you guys entering? Are you guys still staying on the outskirts? I mean, are you guys...
Probably foolishly wandering in a little quicker than I should, being excited. I feel Ragrum feels more in his element, seeking treasure than he does, anything else really. Unless he's studying something or seeking treasure, he's just kind of feels out of his comfort zone. So I think he's, like I said, foolishly stepping forward faster than he should.
So, I mean, you guys can feel free to enter in. Essentially, you're in a perfectly round-shaped forest area, light coming in from the center of the area. There's a stone slate in the middle of the room, or in the middle of the area, and then a opening on the opposite side of the room.
Ragrum would does the sunlight that was heating up our armor, was that covering the whole area or just in the middle?
It was just is essentially covering up like the center. So if you think of like, oh man, I'm forgetting the name of the kind of tree, but it's like essentially when you're like 3 years old and like you draw the squiggles, around like the really puffy trees.
Yeah.
So there's like all of those standing right next to each other. So it's a really shaded area. And then there's some minor light coming in through the probably about 15 feet wide hole that is in the center of all of the trees.
Gotcha. Is that stone slab in the center of everything?
I would say it's yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's something in here, so I will, hearing the whispers and the voices, I'm not stupid enough to think that it was just the squirrels, even though they creep me out, but, I'm going to quickly and quietly make my way to the slab in the center.
Thurgon cautiously steps in after Ragrum. Kind of always not paranoid, but his years of exploring and visiting strange places helped him learn to be cautious, and he likes to let others go first. But he steps in and takes a look around.
Aaron would, Aaron would step closer, walking slowly towards this uh, stone slab. Was it?
Mm-hmm.
And like takes a knee and seizes carefully, like trying to decipher if there's something connected with this and what just happened. Knowing that the runes were of elvish kind, we'll try and think about if someone from elvish of an elvish race had obviously put a trap for others who would try and trespass these woods, or was it to a means of um, leading them to where they had to conquer whatever lies deeper in the forest?
Okay, so give me a history check to see if you can remember anything.
So it will be a D20, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And
So
then you would add your history modifier.
okay, so an 18, and you said history modifier. That does that means the intelligence, right? Or what? It's in my skills.
Oh man, I believe history is an intelligence. Please,
Yeah,
someone if they know.
it's intelligence. So I would add my intelligence modifier or the
Yes, technically yes. It's the same thing as your intelligence modifier, unless you have proficiency.
yeah, I
In
have
history.
proficiency in history, so it will be a
So
4
then I believe it's 2 times your standard, or 2 times your intelligence modifier.
You should
Wait,
have
no.
an intelligence modifier, and then you should have a proficiency bonus, and you'd
Yeah,
add
Yes.
both of those.
so it will be
Thank
a
you.
proficiency in total of 4. So 18 plus 4, it will be 22, right? Yeah, 22.
Yes.
So 22.
All right. So I love this. This is being more RP than what was expected. I'm loving this. You recall tales of an elven woman, and as far as what you can remember, these are all legends. They're not, anything of real, that you guys would consider real. It's about an elven woman who sought the power of immortality. She dedicated her entire life to it. She was said to have been um, having like a research facility in the area close to where this forest is. Um, yeah, I'd say that's about a 22.
Aaron would step back again on his 2 feet, and knowing what he just deciphered, he would pretty much try and to say unto his party members that we're safe for now. At least I think so. The stones and uh, writings on the trees. At least, yeah, let's go with that. I think we're safe for now.
I've been in places like this more than once. I don't think that getting through one trap makes us safer. I think we're going to meet much worse as we go on. We've got to find this sword, and we aren't going to have an easy time of it.
Yes,
Your confidences are much inspiring, the both of you. I don't trust elves. I've never trusted elves. The faster we do this, the better.
definitely.
The problem with elves is they're too dang tall.
And those ears. Can't get over the ears.
Yeah, what the heck is up with those ears? Why? Why do you need so pointy ears? It does the same. You hear with them. What?
So as you all kind of get to the stones, the stone slate in the center, it's all kind of jagged and rigid, cracks going all through it. There is a reddish brown stains all over the tablet. There are cut marks all through the actual tablet itself. Um, but nothing seems to be off about it, I guess, other than the fact that it's in the middle of the woods, I suppose.
Can I take a closer look at it as a dwarf? I have stone cunning. Can I just like examine the stone, see if I can tell where it came from? Um, anything else I can see about it?
Sure.
Can I assist him with my stone cutting?
So then just take advantage on the roll.
All right. Let's see, 11 and a 17. So I'm proficient with stone cunning, right? I'd add my history and proficiency to that.
That's a good question.
Yeah, so I think I believe I
usually do the mobile app character sheets where it just gives me all the numbers.
Yeah.
What do you?
Yeah.
Would you be trying? I mean, I guess it's up to the DM what you add, but I've got one of the character sheets that lists all the different skills and what modifiers they're based on. If someone's confused about something like that, I made sure to make my character sheet with that one because I have trouble with that too. So
Yeah, I mean, I'll just make a history check. So it'd be with advantage. It was an 18.
Okay, so you can tell that this is obviously really old stonework. The carving patterns of the stone. I don't know if there's like actual carvings for stone for when it's made, but we'll go with that for now. Is of very old, like carving style. which is most likely why it's eroding so badly as it is. But it's definitely lasted at least a century or two before breaking.
Okay. And does it say anything on it? Have writing or?
Not that you can tell, because of all the natural erosion. If there was any form of like words or anything on it, it would have kind of eroded away, or at least kind of been there, but not like legible.
Okay. And does it? Last question: does it look like it can be moved, or something's under it, or is it pretty much stuck in the ground?
I mean, essentially, it doesn't look like it's supposed to be there. It does look like it's on top of like a grass area. So I suppose if you had enough strength, you can move it, but it doesn't look like it was supposed to necessarily be moved.
Can we tell if it was maybe a bigger piece of, or a smaller piece of a bigger thing, like a statue or a monument, or if it was just meant to be this slab that's eroding away?
Yeah, you can definitely tell the fact that it was just, just something that was supposed to be the way it is.
You said it had this reddish brown color stuff on it.
Mm-hmm.
Can I tell if it's blood or tell what it is?
Yeah, you can definitely tell that it's blood. But it's where it's like hardening and kind of like fading into, kind of decompensating.
Gotcha. So it's not fresh.
Yeah, it's definitely not fresh. It doesn't really look like anything or anyone has been here in quite some time, or at least that of the living, I suppose.
With kind of a bit of a shudder, Thurgon kind of looks and says, "Well, gentlemen, I think I've seen enough of this stone. It's not much more than a stone. I think we might want to carry on." You said there was an opening at the other end of the other side of the circle.
Yes.
So Thurgon will make his way towards that opening and have a look through it.
I'm gonna follow right behind Thurgon.
So
I would follow my two companions after barely, I mean vaguely, I don't know, just go and direct my eyes to where the stone is, or this stone carving, this object, and notice what Ragrum noticed about the colored stone, reddish, brownish thing. And for me, it would have been, I thought it was paint, but now that, well, did Ragrum told us, hey, it's blood, old blood.
I mean, I would have if I seen you confused or seen you thinking that, if I thought you didn't realize that, I would have relayed that information.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely I was a little confused about it, because thinking it was just a historic piece, a maybe small monument of some sort, that it was decorated with this reddish thing that I thought it was like paint made of plants, fruits, or whatever. But then he would just discard that uh, opinion once Ragrum told it's old blood. So he would just okay then, just continue on and walk about it, um, just making sure that nothing takes us by surprise, since we were tested with a arcana magic and now blood.
So as you kind of get to this, I keep wanting to call it doorways because I keep thinking of like a dungeon crawl, but it's like wood, so I'm not like 100% sure what to call it.
It could be a doorway just made of like shapely like a doorway made of these trunks that just trail.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Forest
I'll
doorway.
probably figure something out by the end of it. Oh my gosh. Okay. It's essentially about 30 to 40 feet long before it kind of like cuts off with the brush. It's almost as if when you get to the other side, the noises of nature kick back in. It was almost as if you were in some sort of like bubble that refused to let you hear anything outside of it. But as you get to the other side and I'm assuming step foot into this like hallway, it's almost as if nature and everything kind of begins to play once again.
I don't know about anyone else, but I know that as Ragrim stepped out of this bubble, that he would kind of hesitate when he stepped out and heard the sounds start back up. It would kind of give him a start for a second. He would not necessarily freak out, but it would give him pause, and he would realize even more how much magic or arcane, whatever was in that area that they were just in.
Aaron would also kind of startle a little, like his nerves getting up, just almost reaching for his sword, like thinking something's coming. But then thought about how inside that bubble that you just said, there was no sound, no nothing, nor a leaf moving, and just put A and B together and think about the arcane magic, the object in the middle of this place with blood, and think magic, it's at work here, powerful magic.
Thurgren, he instinctively looks over his shoulder as they come out into the sound, not even realizing until that moment that it had been so deathly quiet. He kind of looks back and then turns back forward and continues down the passageway, kind of keeping an eye on everything as he's walking.
So as you all kind of walk down this hallway, the pathway begins to darken, almost as if it's becoming night or closer and closer to night the farther you walk down this hallway, as the brush gets thicker and thicker, blocking all of the sun out. You can still like see, but it's very dim lighting. You get to the end of like about 35 feet, and it's a wall of trees, almost like a dead end, but in between two trees there's a gap about a foot and a half, maybe 2 feet in diameter that you could technically squeeze through.
So Aaron has uh, I think it's nimbleness. Yeah, so I can move through spaces. But it says creatures that are larger than you. But could I apply this to like spaces in general?
So what is it that what's the thing called? So that way I can actually look it up.
Nimbleness. I think it's thanks to my Hobbit race. I get it. So let me, we got it there. I wish I had the handbook in a digital version. Forgot I could have downloaded it to like look for it faster. I have to look page by page.
And this is a
It's
feat
a
from being.
yeah feat. It's a feature that my race gives me. Let me see if I can
You
find
said halfling or hobbit?
a
Halfling, right?
halfling. Yeah, it's the same. Hobbit halfling, but in D&D it's called halfling. Because keeping respect for Tolkien's invention that was hobbits.
To move through the space of any creature. Oh, so that's referring to you can squeeze through like underneath people's legs.
Yeah,
Like
so since it was like a large space, didn't know if I.
well, yeah, I mean you're a halfling. You're small and petite. You can
Yeah,
technically fit.
it will be used to like scavenge or like spy around if it would be a safe place to go, or if we can find something, see if I can find something useful there. Since we're all small people, maybe we can like do something.
Is it wide enough for us to fit through without worry? Or, I mean,
It would definitely be a little tight, even though considering all of your sizes. I mean, it wouldn't be where like you have to like take off all of your clothes or anything like that. You guys can still fit. It's just very tight where you have to kind of move really slow in order to get through it.
Thurgran hefts up his battle axe and says, "I could always make the hole bigger."
So
But Aaron, if you want to go through, go on ahead. That looks like a rat trap to me, though.
so Aaron would probably say to his party members, I don't want to get stuck there. I could probably get a couple of feet in, like to a 1 feet deep, but nah, wouldn't risk it.
Ragrim will just. I assume that we don't see any other ways except for back the way we came.
Correct.
Ragrim would pull out his hand axe and kind of give it a little twirl and just well, if no one else is going to go in, I guess it's up to me. We got to get through here. Let's go.
Oh, so I actually thought
the hole.
sorry, actually thought there was another way. Wasn't like paying really close attention. Sorry.
After you, Thurgran says as he looks at Ragram.
And I'll attempt to squeeze through.
Okay, so as you guys all kind of begin to squeeze through, you hear the crackling of a fire. It's obviously still dim light, and you can see at the other end of this area that you're crawling through that there's a little bit brighter of a light at the end. As you guys kind of, I guess, sidestep through this area, once you get to the other side, there's this small little room, area, about 15 by 30. So it's a rectangular room. In the center of it, there's a campfire. And there's this humanoid being about 5.5 feet tall, with their back towards you, their hair shaved on the sides, the top of the hair kind of like folding over on one side. Yeah, so very, very close chopped hair.
You say they have their back to us?
Correct.
Is there enough cover for me to try to stealth my way around to see what who this is, if it's friend or foe, if it's what race it is, if it's a creature, if it's a person?
So I'd say that there is, considering your size, but you would definitely be able to notice that for whatever reason, in the areas where there are like quote unquote like things happening, the tree brush is thicker, almost creating walls, and those pathways, the tree trunks are farther apart.
Gotcha.
So it'll take a little bit of maneuvering, but you can probably try. You'll have to give me like two stealth checks to make it.
Okay, well, you want me to roll one now, or?
Yep, go ahead.
That would be a 19.
All right, so I mean, you're able to kind of start moving up into the area. The grass kind of making a slight noise with every step, but it's nothing, unless that would be over the crackling of the fire. You get about at a 45-degree angle compared to where you were seeing where it's completely just her back. Now you're at a point where you're starting to be able to see like the side of the face. You can definitely tell that the facial structure seems a little bit more elongated, more defined, more feminine at this point.
As Thurgon sees Ragrum creeping up, he kind of just quietly drops to a knee and pulls out his crossbow and just has it at the ready.
Aaron would try and, as Ragrum went one side, don't know if it's left or right, Aaron would do the same, but to the opposite side, trying to corner it and get more information out of his surroundings and what this woman really is. Because for him, it just struck to him elf kind, but he really want to make sure and would move silently if it's possible, with his hand ready in his head, the sword, his hilt of the sword.
So then essentially, are you going towards the left or the right, Ragaram?
Left.
So then you're trying to go right,
Yep.
Aaron?
Yep. I'll go to my right.
So then are you trying to just do this stealthily, or are you trying to just walk normally?
Well, seeing that my friend Ragram did it stealthily and who's the command tent, I don't know his name? What is it?
Thurgren.
Thurgren?
Yep.
Okay, so sorry if I spelled it wrong at some point of the game, but Thurgren would be standing there at the ready, and I would try and go about it as normally as I could without trying to hesitate this person or um, uh, make her feel like a threat. Threat, um, but like make it as safe as possible at an angle so that I can see her face. So if she noticed me, it wouldn't bother me as long as I do it in a really cautious way.
So then you're trying to be stealthy. So then go ahead and give me a stealth.
So that's a
D20, and then you add your stealth modifier.
Yeah, a 6 and stealth modifier. That would be a blah, 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 blah. My goodness, dexterity 8 and 8.
Okay. So, as you guys, as you kind of start to try to move towards the right, you end up stepping on a twig. I'm pretty sure all of you are staring right at her, seeing as you guys are trying to move without her noticing.
As Aaron goes to step on the twig, with being as stealthy as I am, I would almost see him do it, and I'd just be like trying to get his attention and get him not to fail, of course. But
Aaron would stop, like frozen there, and just looking slightly to his friends, noticing his friend's crossbow and Ragrim going, and then stopping. And he would be, and a little drop of sweat dropping down.
So essentially, as he the branch is kind of does the crack against the grass floor, you'd see this female's ears kind of like start twitching with the noise. Her head automatically swirling over right, catching you dead and looking you dead in the eye, pulling out her dagger and her sword, and then realizing she's essentially being ambushed, she takes an offensive stance. Who are you? What the fuck do you want?
There's nothing to worry about. We're just travelers seeking objects of great importance. I'm but I don't want to fight.
Tell that to this one with the freaking crossbow pointing right at me.
would she have?
Thurgren smiles at her and just keeps it at the ready.
Would she have noticed Ragrim already, or would she have noticed?
Yeah, essentially, yes. Essentially, her head kind of like starts like swiveling back and forth, like, what noise is this? And kind of spots all of you. Which is why she grabs her sword or her dagger and readies herself in case in case something bad's happening.
Ragrim would he had his hand axe when he went through the small passageway, and he still had it as he was sneaking, and he would just kind of not put it away, but just kind of lower it to his side, kind of look less threatening, and just look at her and try to reassure her and just we've got nothing to worry about if you're not an enemy. We mean you no harm. If we meant you harm, our friend here with the crossbow could have shot you in the back.
Are you trying to deceive her or actually persuade her?
That's hard because I want to say deception because I'm so proficient in it, but I don't think I'm trying to deceive her because I don't necessarily mean her any harm. So I guess I'd be trying to persuade her.
So give me a perception, please, or persuasion.
All right, that would be a big fat 5.
Oh gosh.
Could I help him out, like, to try and, after he says whatever he wants to say, after Ragrim says whatever he's gonna say, could I, like, try and catch her attention to try and second that action that he just did?
I'd probably say that she would react almost instantaneously, but I would say that you would have an opportunity to calm her down after she takes her action from that. So as he kind of like tries to calm her down and all that, she even clutches. You can see her hand kind of start to clasp her dagger even tighter. Her eyes kind of thinning out, looking directly at you, Ragam. Liar! You fucking liar! You intend to kill me. You intend to kill me for everything that I've done. She kind of starts to have a minor panic attack, and then she kind of catches herself and she clenches her and she just automatically, get lost or I'm gonna kill you.
We mean you no harm, really. My friend here is just taking some precautions. We've been put in danger since we've arrived to this forest. We were attacked by magic. We were sealed in some bubble kind of thing. And when we advance through the forest, the first living thing that we see, aside those squirrels, it's you. We are a little cautious. You can't blame us for that. And although we may be strangers, I am no stranger to your kind. I have learned your language, and I can say that we are as close as friends as, as anything or anyone that you may have encountered before. We just want some answers.
So I'll say take a point of inspiration for the description, and give me a persuasion check to see if she actually lowers her guard.
While he's rolling his persuasion check, can I please ask that we fight a swarm of squirrels since it's become a staple in the game already, apparently?
I don't have a stat block for a swarm of squirrels. But if we end up doing a campaign, I promise I'll figure something out.
So I rolled a 9, and I'm proficient in persuasion, so that will be a 4. So 13 in total.
Oh, barely.
What? No.
You hit. I had a 13 DC on that, so you hit it barely. So her guard kind of begins to drop. You can see her hand not clench her dagger as hard. The crackling of the fire, the logs kind of collapse inward as her grip loosens.
As her grip loosens, Thurgren will slightly lower the crossbow so it's not pointed right at her, just pointed at the ground, but he's still holding onto it.
If it is true what you say, that you mean me no harm, then I too will do no harm.
Thank you. We really appreciate it. Now, if it's possible, can we get some answers at where we are? What's this place? Why are you the only person we've seen now?
This doesn't seem like a very viable camp spot. Why are you camping out here? Why are you even in this forest? We're looking for something. What are you doing here?
The same as you. But I got lost. I've been here for weeks, and for whatever reason, it's like the forest doesn't let you leave. You can know how to track, and no matter how much you use your skills, you always end up seeming to get even more lost. I camp here because this is where I'm tired.
I've been in a lot of forests looking for a lot of things, and not one has ever kept me in. This shan't be the first. I won't stay here.
Her words sweep into Aaron uh, ears and like send chills through his back, but he knows what his friend Ragran is capable of and trust in his friend's abilities.
Come, sit. I know it's not much. And she kind of grabs her satchel and she pulls out some dead squirrels and begins to skin them over the fire.
Before Thurgren comes any closer, can he do an insight check to see if she's telling the truth?
Sure.
Where are we at? That'll be an 11 plus 1, so 12.
Okay. So you kind of feel that something seems slightly off, but you can't like pinpoint anything in particular. That's kind of a little tidbit. DC was 13, but
Okay.
you came close enough where I'll give you a little.
So he comes to the fire and he sits down opposite her so he can look right in the face, but he keeps the crossbow in his lap and he doesn't take any of the squirrel.
So, can I do something kind of strange? I want to try to intimidate her without making her scared. Just kind of, now that we've calmed her down, there's, I assume there's like a log sitting around the fire. Or are
I'm
we
trying to
just sitting
think
on the
how
ground?
intimidation would work without.
I guess I could
The
do a
whole point of
deception, maybe.
intimidation is deception. I can see.
Basically, what I want to do is, if there's logs sitting next to the fire, basically what I want to do is make her like not freak her out to the point where she thinks that we're gonna attack her. But if I see Thurgren being, a little bit suspicious still, I would walk over to one of the logs, the one I'm gonna sit at, and I would take my hand axe that I have in my hand and just bury it into the hand, like not necessarily menacingly, but enough to be like, I know how to use this thing.
Catch
Bury it
you
in,
off guard.
yeah, bury it into the log as I sit down, just before I sit down.
Okay, I can kind of see that as intimidation. Yeah, go for it.
Great. That would be a 5, a big fat 5 again.
So I was in the middle of drinking some tea when you said that. I spit up like half my drink. All right, so she's in the middle of skinning the squirrel when you kind of bury your hatchet into the log. She kind of looks up to you, gives a minor chuckle, overcompensating much, as she, with one slide, just kind of completely skins the entire squirrel right in front of you with one slide.
And as she says that, I go to sit on the log, and just a piece of my armor catches the end of the hand axe, and it just flips out of the log onto the ground, and I have to embarrassingly bend down and pick it up, and I'm not taking any of the squirrel either, by the way. Ragrim hates squirrels at this point, so.
Thurgood sees this attempted display, and he does that thing where he starts to laugh, and he covers it with a coughing fit.
Anyway, you said you had questions. Feel free to ask. I can't be of much help, but I will say what I can.
As she says that, Ragrim's just going to look at Aaron, and as he's the one that wanted the answers, says he wanted answers, I'm just going to look his direction expectantly, just waiting to see what happens next.
So Aaron would walk up to the fire, and if there was no log, he wouldn't mind. He would love to sit in the ground closest to the fire, just to feel the warmth of it, feeling a little at home with people around him. He's not really used to loneliness, not because he doesn't like some time alone, but he in his journeys accompanied by his party members and has helped in other times other people's in his missions or whatever. But he would sit down in the grass, touch us a little, like caress it, and think of home, think of uh, what was outside of this forest. Look straight at this elf woman and tells her, to start off, what's your name? Aaron, by the way. Aaron Greensword.
I literally just turned the page to look at something else real quick, and then you asked me for her name. Okay, give me 1 second.
Hey, you can't use that excuse. That's a Matt Click excuse.
Well, I mean, luckily we're off the air, so I can't get in trouble for using his stuff. The name's Varnus.
Varnus. Good name. Seems strong.
You don't even know the half of it.
You said you were looking for something just like we are. What are you looking for?
I'm looking for the thing that'll make everything okay again. And she kind of, like swallows like the little bit of phlegm that's in the back of the throat. Anyway, what brings you here?
When she says she's looking for the thing that will make everything better, Ragram will you'll see Ragram kind of lower his head and just kind of mumble under his breath, "It's not always what you need." And you'll see him, he's got his crossbow kind of hanging at his side, and you'll notice just on like a leather band hanging from his crossbow is just a tiny silver icon of a raven, and he's just kind of rubbing it with his thumb and just kind of looking at it. And that's you'll almost get the feeling that her statement has just struck a chord and brought back a memory.
Mm.
Hearing the words of, I'm sorry that the name of the elf was. What was the name of what was her name?
Varnus?
Barnes. Got it. Sorry. So hearing Barnes' words and noticing how they touched beyond comprehension, maybe Ragram's feelings or like a moment in his life, he will continue asking, well, if we came both looking for the same thing as you, I think, and I heard you say, then we're looking not just for a normal object. We're looking for a means to, just like you said, an end to something, a weapon of some kind. And he would look towards his companions, knowing that he just revealed part of their mission, but like by looking at them, trying to let them know that we are almost in the same page, if not at it.
So, as you all are kind of sitting around this fire, kind of talking, granted, this is kind of more thematic. You guys wouldn't physically, notice the specifics. But 12 trees begin to blow in the wind. A big gust of wind begins to blow and only blows on 12 trees. And as the wind picks up, you hear the of the wind as you kind of notice an opening, or I should say, an opening, as the sunlight kind of begins to shine out of a very specific area between these trees.
Is this
You guys all
like
notice the light. Go ahead.
sorry?
No,
Is
go
this
ahead.
like another round clearing, is this just kind of an open area?
So it's essentially, you notice the trees kind of separating as you guys kind of notice the light kind of growing wider. You're not sitting at an angle where you can see it directly head on. You can just tell that more and more light is coming out of like the far left corner of like your eye. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thurgood will kind of stand to his feet real quick, backing away from the fire and the elven woman and kind of trying to figure out what's happening as he's looking all around and looking for the source of the light.
Aaron would um, notice the what just happened, but he's a little hungry, and squirrels did attack them, and he still has a little sense of revenge, even if it's for dead squirrels. So he would take, if they are already prepared squirrels, I don't know, but if there are, he would take one of it and just bite a leg out of it, and pretty nice squirrels. Here you go, and just put it down. Stay alert for whatever may come.
All right, wonderful. So between the three of you, what's the marching order towards the light?
I think Trarum is ahead because he was the first to notice it. I'm at the right of the elf woman, and Ragrum is at her left.
Yeah,
So
that sounds good. I can be at the front.
I don't know.
If,
You guys dictate what goes on.
if Thorgren stood up and if he's going to go first, then I would stand up directly after him and try to stick with his back. Knowing he's a fellow dwarf, I would try to just kind of watch his back as best I could.
Us little folk should stay together. So Aaron would also step up as he put down the squirrel and looks toward the elf woman. Will you help us then? And just walks over side by side with his party members.
Is Varnus, is she standing up to follow us? Is she staying by the fire enjoying her disgusting squirrel, or
The squirrel actually tasted pretty good. But she was kind of in the middle of talking when you guys all kind of stood up. So she kind of is still sitting down because she doesn't really know what's going on, seeing as the three of you kind of all stood up abruptly without really saying much of anything. But essentially, like, she was still talking to you guys and trying to figure out what was going on, and then just kind of goes silent and stares at you all awkwardly.
Do you notice it? Does she know? Is she not aware of what just happened? The trees moving and the rays of light, the wind, the gust. Is like inside our heads?
So essentially, the three of you, from what I understood, were all facing her, right? So essentially, she's essentially looking opposite of the way that you guys are. So she doesn't see it because it's not in her perception area.
Okay. Well, I just
Does that
thought
make
it
sense?
was. Yeah. She's her back is towards the light and where this gust of wind happened. So
Mm-hmm.
okay, yeah. So maybe as Aaron would stand up and told her if she would help them, he would um, direct her, like point at her and say, "This is not natural. Wind blowing and only 12 of these trees moving with those rays of light. Do you not sense the magic in here? It may be um, bad to just stand here. We should stay alert. We should stay together."
Looking back at the elvish woman, Thurgon says as he nods at the light, has this happened before in your travels through these woods?
Yes, many times. That's how the forest keeps you here. They only allow you to see what they want you to.
They? Who's this they?
The forest, the trees.
What aren't you telling us?
Look, I don't know what's going on here. All I know is I've been stuck here for weeks and having to live on these stupid squirrels.
That's it. That's all you tell. You speak in riddles of seeking the same thing that we seek. You pointed to your folk. You aren't trustworthy as it is. You seem awfully calm and awfully well put together for someone who's been stuck and just living on squirrel meat.
For someone that's been here for weeks, you sure don't know very much. Maybe you should take in some of that height and put it in some brains for you.
Um,
Can we notice, like, if there are some tracks of some sort, like, I don't know, footsteps or markings around this square area, or like something that would be off and that would help us uh, know if it's safe to stay or to try and find some other way. Is there anything we could see that would help us?
um, so I mean, the whole thing is these. With every time you go into like a different area, it seems to only be like one thing in each like area. So it's really hard to kind of figure out what's what or
Okay.
where you are because every area kind of looks the exact same, other than the one thing that makes it different.
Okay, yeah, got it now. So it's like an empty space, something happens, and there's this or that, and we just get to see it. Okay. Um,
So
I
I mean,
would be
are you guys going towards the
so
new hole?
I wouldn't necessarily go straight to it. I'm just like I stand it up, walk a little bit, talk to the elf, um, got close to my friends, and but I don't want to go inside until um, I try and talk to her, maybe, or as the other said, she's awfully calm. Maybe she has decided that she would accept her fate uh, being here, but at the same time, if you are stuck here forever, you have a somewhat supply of need. I would try and get out. So I don't know, just see my surroundings and stare in awe, really.
If if Aaron is talking to this woman and Thargren stood up and he stood up first and started towards the light. If he stopped and talked to her and I said Ragram said what he said. If no one else was moving towards he would get frustrated and just kind of just like you said earlier, I'm not going to be stuck in this place. And he's going to, if no one else is going to, if no one else stops him, he's going to go towards that next opening.
So I guess the question is anyone going to try to stop him? or are you all kind of follow him?
I'll
Feel free to
look
go in front
him
of me. Feel free to go first.
Yeah, I'll let Ragrum go first, but I'll look at the elvish woman and say, "You coming with us, or are you just planning to sit there and dine on squirrels the rest of your known life?"
There's nowhere else to go. Uh, oh my goodness, I forgot. Varnes. There's nowhere else to go, Varnes. And if you are really telling the truth, which I think you are, at least um, as for what this forest is, then we may need to move on. We don't know what our next challenge could be. It's just a matter of time before we end up maybe in another room. So Aaron would just take uh, that squirrel that he threw the piece off, just like throw it in his backpack where he has his other rations for later, and just would go up, face this um, hole or opening, take his sword, and poke to see if something goes on with his hand. It feels cold or somehow, and just keep poking.
Mhm. Okay. So then are you guys going into the doorway then?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's like he's procrastinating, but he will go in. He will go in.
And as far as the commentant, Thurgan, you asked if she was going with. I want to make sure to.
Yeah. I basically want to know what she's coming with us, or she's just giving up and staying.
Yeah, Ron
So
also asked her, so we just need an answer.
yeah, so she kind of looks at all of you and kind of looks over her shoulder at the new doorway, and she kind of starts to rush, and she tries to like start packing all of her stuff back into her bag. So I mean, she appears to be coming. She's not really saying, yes or no, but she's packing her stuff. So
It's a silent yes.
Ragrum's gonna kind of, before he steps through that next opening, he's gonna look at Thargrin and just be like, I don't trust her. I don't know if you do, but I don't. And he's just gonna turn and, like I said, he's frustrated at this point with this person that says she's been here for weeks and she knows nothing and she doesn't know anything about what's going on. She, acts like she's given up. He's just gonna frustratedly turn and walk through the next opening without even really looking into the next area. He's just gonna kind of step through, just walk wherever the path leads, and hope at least his companions follow him.
Thurgun will stand and wait for the woman to pack up her stuff, and still crossbow in his hands, kind of motion with it for her to go ahead of him to follow Ragrum.
Ron would he wants to go through. He just saw what Ragrum did. He's like, wait, no, whatever, we'll catch him. And looks back to his friend Karen and Varnes, and he would just go with. Uh, Man, I'm like stuck here. He will go in. He will go in. See what fate has to offer.
So Varnus looks over to Thurgan and kind of sees what you're doing with the whole crossbow. She kind of just gives a rather mean look at you, very like mean muggy, and just looks at you and says, "Trust goes both ways. I'm not going to stand in the middle of all of you. I don't trust you as much as you don't trust me. I'm going to stay up the rear."
I give her the same mean look back and nod at my two friends and say, I don't think you have much of a choice.
I mean, Ragram's already. He's not. I mean, he's not necessarily running or sprinting or moving quickly, but he's just kind of. He's kind of like, "Hey guys, I'm going, so let's all go," and he's just kind of slowly walking forward. But if he looked back and noticed Thargren trying to put the woman that he just said he didn't trust at his back, he would just kind of shake his head and just be like, "Really?"
So then, I mean, she's kind of holding her ground. She doesn't want to kind of be put up in the middle. I mean, you also have to understand too, like she's a female, and it's a bunch of random, guys.
She's bigger than
She's
us.
just because you're, yeah, true.
Yeah, no, Thurgren, he has had an uneasy feeling since they met, and he does not want her behind him. So he says, you either go before us or we leave you here. But there's no way I turn my back on you.
If you want to get stuck here, then stay. We need to move forward. It's the only way we know how to get our hands on what we came here for. So it'll be the same. If at the other side there's nothing, what else is there for you here? And Aaron will definitely now be close to Ragun. He was just like yelling now, seeing what just happened.
Why don't you go catch some more squirrels?
So I mean, so she's just like, if you are unwilling to trust me, then you are unwilling to trust the forest. And she kind of fades off, turning into leaves and kind of blowing away. The hole becomes slightly wider for you all to go through.
So I think we already are going through, and we're like almost at the middle of this opening, I think. And so I think Aaron will, as he was looking at his friend and this elf woman, he would instantly uh, scream out to him, scream out his name, thinking that this is gonna be another trap, that they are going to be separated, and wave to him like, "Run, run! We don't know what else we can find here."
So as you go ahead.
Oh yeah, as this happens, Thurgon, and he hears Aaron call, he kind of looks around, kind of completely confused, still kind of almost paranoid, and he runs through the gap with the other two.
And as you all kind of go through the gate or the opening, you notice a chair a stone chair on the left hand side, about 20-30 feet from you. You are now in a triangular room, and on the far left hand side there's this chair, almost throne style. Completely along the outside of this throne are skeletal bones across the floor, and sitting in the chair is some sort of skeleton, humanoid skeleton, with a sword that is sticking straight through the heart of the being, or of the skeleton.
Without making a check, because I don't necessarily want to know 100%, but would we be able to tell anything about it being a special sword? Does it just look mundane? Is there any special look of it, just from where we're at?
I would say, considering the mission briefing that you guys would have gotten before actually embarking on the mission, that seems to be the sword that you guys are after, or at least it looks like it.
If Ragrim realizes this, he's gonna get a little bit too overly excited and be like, "There it is! It's the sword!" And he's just gonna start to kind of rush forward to get it and just possibly draw some looks of "oh crap" and exasperation from his companions.
Aaron would try and grab his shoulder, trying to calm his friend. He would also notice that this is the sword that we were set out to look for. But we 3 times have we been tested. First 2, I think we passed. The third one, I think the forest, to say something, is somewhat angry at us. So I would suggest we take precautions. We want the sword, but be careful.
I don't know if Thurgren has really even noticed the sword yet, because he's still kind of gripping his crossbow, looking all around, trying to figure out where the elf disappeared to, and if she's going to show up again out of these trees that are now starting to make him feel very, very uneasy, as nothing about this place seems normal or natural anymore.
Ragram's been in places not necessarily magical like this, but he's kind of a treasure hunter, was kind of a treasure hunter for his tribe, for his clan, and so he's been in situations like this where he's gone to a specific place looking for a specific thing, and that's kind of why he notices only. I would even venture to say that he doesn't even really notice the bones everywhere. The only skeleton that he really notices before he starts taking steps forward is the one with the sword in it. And he wouldn't notice the bones strewn on the ground until Aaron grabbed his shoulder and stopped him. And, maybe he stepped on one or kicked a skull, or, and a skull went rolling across the floor as Aaron stopped him. And that's when he finally he takes a real look around and just kind of has this shiver up his spine, and almost he has a flashback of a forest like this that he's been through, that he found not dead bodies, but he found statues of people that used to be in the forest. and realized that those people lost their lives, and now he's in another graveyard of sorts, and all these different creatures and people and races and adventurers and maybe wanderers that got lost and found their way here, didn't even mean to, people that didn't even deserve, people weren't even looking for the sword, they just happened upon this area, and now they're dead for it. They didn't even know what they were getting into. And he just kind of thinks to himself that he is very thankful that Aaron stopped him, because he could have just wandered into something that was more than he could handle, and because all he was focused on was the treasure.
Aaron would see that finally his friend stopped to realize our surroundings and like pat him on the shoulder. We will get it. We just need to find how. We need to know how we're gonna approach this. And I would like to use my, I think it's bravery, because seeing that this place or this, oh my goodness, I can, what we are seeing right now, this scenery, he would want to, yeah, use his bravery feat to like have advantage over being frightened, basically, and just um, confront. What would you say? Yeah, confront it. I think it would be head to head and not hesitate, or well, not hesitate, but just be brave about it. So, what do you say?
um, well, so then, are you guys? I mean, what are you guys doing to advance? Are you just walking up and grabbing the sword? I mean,
Well,
like,
I think Ragrum wanted to go up, and if there are stairs, just put the stairs up and grab the sword and let's get on here. We have it. Aaron, I stopped him and to make him notice what we're up against. And I just want to ensure uh, that I'm brave enough to go head on with what's in front of us, because we're basically seeing a grave, I think, I imagine. And it sent chills to at Ragrim, so I don't want to have that same feeling. And that's why I wanted to know if I could use my brave feet, because I don't know how it goes. I just know it gives me advantages, saves against being frightened. I don't know if that sticks with me throughout some period of time, or is it just something that I use when we're in battle, or I don't know.
let's see. What does the rule say about brave?
Because it says here you have advantage on saving throws against being frightened.
Oh, okay. So then, I mean, as long as I don't tell you to roll to see if you're frightened or not, then I don't think that.
Okay, so I don't have to use it then.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, then just ignore that part. It was just like a little question. But if for advancing, I would just take a knee, and if there are bones scattered in front of us, like around us, I would sweep the floor and see if I can find something. Take a bone, examine it, and just trying to see for how much time this has been here.
Can we tell if they're humanoid remains? Are they creatures? Are they monsters? Can we tell what kind of bones they are?
The bones vary in shapes and sizes, so it's hard to determine if all of it doesn't look like all of them are the same, like, type of being, whether it be human, monster, or something in between.
I was afraid you'd say that. What's above us? Is it just canopy of trees? Are there vines or anything? Are there low hanging branches?
So essentially, the room almost looks like a pyramid. The trees are kind of like, because it's a triangular room, so the trees are kind of like bent in, where it kind of creates an entire pyramid.
Would it be trying to? Well, I guess it wouldn't work because it's a pyramid. So, I guess Ragarum would look at his companions and let them know, this is the sword that we're after. And if no one else has any better ideas, I'm going to try to sneak over there and get it. That's all we can do. Unless you guys have another idea. I'm going to try to take the sword. That's what we're here for. It's the only way we're getting out of this forest.
Agreed. I'll watch your back.
Aaron would accept Ragram's words, knowing that he is skilled at what he's doing. And just keep an eye on whatever goes on. He before entering the opening, he had his sword just sheeted out, so he would grasp his sword, wait it, and go towards his shield that he has in his back, and just surveying the area, looking up, noticing the pyramid-like shape of the room. And that would be.
All right. So then, as you kind of move in to kind of grab it, are you trying to do this stealthily, or are you just kind of being cautious without necessarily being stealthy?
No, I would Ragram would pull out his crossbow and his hand crossbow that he has, and he's got that small silver icon of the raven attached to it with a small leather strap. He would kind of wrap that around his hand because it's right there on the handle, and he would just kind of have it ready, and he would try to, as best he could, stealthily get up to the sword. He knows that he doesn't necessarily know that something's going to happen, but he knows if they've been sent here, he knows of the potential riches that could be found here, and he knows that something this important, there's no way you're just going to be able to take it and go. Either something's going to happen when he gets the sword, or they're going to have some issues on their way out. He's been in enough situations to at least know that.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to be very, very, very wary as he makes his way to the actual sword itself.
All right, so give me a stealth with advantage.
2 17s. I've got a +9 to stealth, so 26.
All right, so you're able to get up there really easily. Um, you bob and weave through all the different skeletal remains, figuring out, I guess, whatever pattern they were laid in to get over there. So you're essentially standing at the throne of bone and standing in front of the sword.
If nothing, I mean, if he makes it, if he weaves his way through these bones and just notices all these different creatures, maybe things he recognizes, this thing that he's fought before, or that thing that he's fought before, a human skull, an elf skull, maybe an orc skull, and all these different things that have what appears to him have come for the sword, and they've been dispatched. Like, he almost gets a little bit worried, but sees his, he gets closer and he sees his prize in sight, and he gets up to the throne, what he supposes is the throne, and if he gets up there that close and he's within arm's reach, he's gonna try to take that sword.
All right. So you're able to grab that sword. Give me a strength check to see if you're able to pry it out of the stone.
God, I knew you were gonna say that. Fuck. It's a 3.
All right, so you kind of grab onto the sword itself, and as you kind of begin to pull it, it's complete, like you didn't realize how hard it was going to be, and you end up falling onto some of the bones, cracking some of them.
Is it stuck in the throne itself? Can I tell?
Yeah, it appears to be, because I mean, it shouldn't have given you as much resistance if it was just in the body itself.
I would have just tried to, for lack of a better term, Excalibur it when I first got up there. Just one hand, just like you would grab a sword and just pull it out. And, I think it's just going to be easy. I made it this far. I'm confident now. And nothing. So Ragorn would put one foot up on the throne and push his weight back and try to pull it out and kind of slip a little bit and just kind of look back at his friends nervously and just kind of like give this nervous smile, and I got this. And he'd grab it with both hands and just put both feet as best he could on the throne and try to pull, and just hands slip off, and that's when he falls and tumbles down the throne and cracks some of these bones behind him
And
as he lays on the floor.
You start to hear the bones begin to rattle and shake. They begin to climb onto one another, slithering the bones together. In front of you lies, for lack of a better phrase, a bone snake. Everyone roll for initiative.
I don't like snakes, by the way. I hate them more than squirrels.
Yeah, same here.
See, I thought it was a squirrel when I heard that.
Nimbling on some bones.
Yeah, no, in our luck, it would have been like a were squirrel.
Yeah.
A dire squirrel.
Yeah.
So to make sure, it's a D20, right?
Yes.
Okay. I was just
Plus
nervous
your
about
initiative bonus.
Yeah, I got a 15 total.
Your initiative bonus is just your dex mod, right?
Yes.
Got a 9. I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah, that would be awesome if everyone can do that.
Let me just say, love the sound of dice in a dice tower.
Mm-hmm. It's an amazing sound. All right, so then it looks like the bone snake is going to go first, and then it'll be the command tent, or Thurgan, then Ragrum, and then Aaron. That'll be the order. So then, essentially, as the bones kind of collide onto each other, creating this form, it's gonna lunge forward at you, Ragrum. So let's see if it hits. It's gonna try to bite you. I'm pretty sure that hits 21.
Yeah.
You take 10 points of piercing damage plus 10 points of poison damage.
I'm resistant to poison.
So then I believe you take half.
So
5
15
points.
total?
Yeah, 15 total.
Why are you coming over here now, cat? Right when I gotta write stuff.
It's the squirrel, man. The squirrel.
So then Thurgan.
All right. Well, I think I'm still across the room, and I got my crossbow out, so I'm gonna, step to the side so I don't hit Ragrum there, and then take a shot at the snake. That's a 16 to hit.
So just out of curiosity, I fell off the throne, so I'm still. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter because he doesn't necessarily have to use too much of a move action to step aside, but I'm still on the ground, correct?
Yeah. And you did hit the snake at 16.
All right. Let's see. And that'll be 6 piercing damage.
Okay. Might help if I actually grab my pen. Oh, wait. It is here. Never mind. Okay.
It might just help.
Just a little bit.
By the way, I love the cat. Looks awesome.
You said 6 damage?
Yeah, 6 piercing.
Okay, perfect.
Biggest cat we have, and it's the one that decides to jump on the table in front of the computer. It's a
And
Norwegian forest cat, so he's huge.
And then I'm gonna sling my crossbow and pull out my battle axe as I try to close the distance to the snake.
Okay. So then you're able to, you're able to get pretty close if you use your whole action.
Okay.
To get up there.
I wouldn't be able to use my second attack, right?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. No. Ragrum?
I'm up already. All right. So I'm prone. So do I need to use an action to stand up, or can you attack being prone? Well, yeah. Can you attack being prone, or do I have to use an action to stand up?
That's one that I'll have to check the rules on. That's one I don't know. I would think that you would be able to do some sort of attack. I don't think it would be as powerful.
Yeah, I think he would have some kind of disadvantage, to put it that way.
Crap. I should have said that I used Uncanny Dodge on the last attack to take half damage, but I'll just remember that I have that for next time.
So I'll...
Because I have Cunning Action, and I have Cunning Action. I don't know if that helps. That lets me dash, disengage, hide, do sleight of hand, use tools, or use objects. I don't know if the dash action would help at all. If not,
I'll say that you're able to get up. I just because of that type of training, I think it would be instinctual to get back up.
what if I decided to attack? Could I do both or just one or the other?
I would say that you would probably have to get up before you can attack.
Okay.
But I do think that you would be able to do both in the same turn.
Okay. Well, as I'm getting up, I've got my crossbow at the moment, so I want to, as I'm getting up, I want to try to fire my crossbow at this thing, even though it's close range.
Yeah, that's extremely close range, within like 5 feet or so.
That's why I
so
was
go
asking
ahead.
if you wanted me to attack before I got up or whatever. I was gonna fire as I'm laying back looking up at this thing.
I mean, thematically, that's cool. So whatever, go ahead.
And do I add anything to the? I got a +6. So that would be a 22 to attack to hit.
I would really hope that hits. Yes.
And no one else is within 5 feet, correct?
I believe Thurgan now is.
So does that mean I can get my sneak attack damage?
Yes, technically.
All right.
I'm just trying to think thematically how that would work. Oh, hey, this guy's next to me. I do more damage because he's next to me in this particular instance, but mechanically, yes, you get.
Well, that's why I was asking, because I know I'm prone, so I didn't know if not because I'm prone, I can understand, but
We'll say that the penalty for shooting while down is you don't get the sneak attack bonus. How about that?
it's fine. I will
Fair
roll.
enough.
Yep. That's a 3, unless he's resistant to pierce. And if he's not resistant to piercing, then it's a 6, because I have a +3 piercing with my hand crossbow.
No, it's 6.
So
He's not.
6 damage.
You guys do damage in 6s, apparently.
Everything I have is +6, or is a D6.
All right. So then, Aaron.
And I stood up after that, by the way. So.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So I got a question. I just noticed this. Did we get damaged by the first room with the heating armors and all of that? Or
I
didn't
never
we?
necessarily said that you did. So because
Okay.
I never said that you did, I'm gonna say that no.
Okay, because then I remember that we were, as we were talking to the elf lady and all of that, I was gonna ask if it would be considered as a short rest, and then we would get back our previous hit points, or how would that work? But yeah, since we didn't get damaged, then okay. So are you gonna say?
So then, what do you want to do,
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Aaron?
So from starting as from where Rugram tried to pull off, Excalibur this and yes, the sword, and just fell down. At first, Aaron was like, "You got it, buddy," and then, oh, "You okay there?" And just notice this bones swirling as you were saying, coming up and just storming in, forming to this bone snake. He noticed a strange shadow, because at least I'm the way I'm seeing it is like there's the throne, there's Ragram, and I'm like fairly some feet away, seeing what it's happening, then just noticing this mass arranging, like coming up behind my back, I think, in the shadow. If there is some kind of light, I think, casting some shadow upon Aaron, then hearing the swift sound of the arrow passing by, hitting the snake, maybe a roar creaks out of these bones, just I don't know, something, and Aaron jumping to try and hit the snake, hitting it, and I'm just there noticing what's happening with my sword in hand, shield in the other one, and just I'm going to try and let me see if I can do this. Mm, okay, so I would try and hit it with my shield. Like if it is it close by to me, so is it in close range towards me or like in my area?
I'd say it's about 15 feet, 20 feet away from you.
So
So
I
it's
can
it's not super close by.
okay, so I can move then, like take some three steps and try and like take some momentum and jam my, or rather hit it with a blunt hit with my shield. Is it possible? And then I would, what I want to do is like use my accent search after that and just slash with my sword after trying to hit with my shield.
And so essentially, you get a bonus attack.
Yeah,
Essentially, right?
yeah,
And
my
you're trying
accent
to use
search.
your shield as an improvised weapon.
Well, I could use my action search, sorry, or extra attack feat that I have. But yeah, I want to use my shield as a weapon, a blunt weapon, and then use my longsword for my slashing damage.
I mean, if you're using your action surge, that's fine. So then the shield would be qualified as an improvised weapon, which is a D4 damage.
Okay. So do I roll for my um?
Yeah, so you'll roll to hit with the shield.
Okay. So D4 you said?
No, so it's a D20 to see if you hit.
Okay, sorry, yeah. And then a D4 if I do
If
the
you
hit.
actually hit the
Okay, yeah. So here I go then. Wish me luck. So it's a 18. Do I get some kind of bonus for that?
No, not that I'm aware of. I can't
Okay,
think.
so it's an 18 then.
Okay, so then you roll a D4, and you'll
Okay.
do a D4 worth of damage for the improvised weapon.
Well, that will be a 3 D4 damage.
Not bad. So then roll to hit again with the sword attack.
Let's see. It's a 14 to hit.
So then that one misses.
So as Aaron like pushes his shield to this creature's bone, it just cracks some, and he leaps back and tries to draw his sword, but maybe the snake moves a little, or he just, with the adrenaline filling in, he just missed, just
Mm-hmm.
like that. He just missed, and instead of getting the bones of the snake, he maybe crushed a skull of this creature that was beside him, and now he's looking up, trying to see his next move.
Cool. Um. All right. So then so your second attack didn't work. Um. Oh man, that's horrible luck. All right. So then the snake it's the bone snake's turn now. Oh, okay, they can do. Oh, I didn't know that. Learn something new every day. All right, so the snake's gonna try to attack again,
I just noticed I
and
could have used my inspiration.
that is also true. You could have. It looks like it's gonna be attacking Regram again. So let's see. It hits. $15. It hits. Okay.
You got me
All right. So then,
again.
yeah. So the 10 piercing and 10 poison.
So
But
I've
then
got
you have poison resistance, so that's brings it down to 15.
I also have uncanny dodge, which can half damage from a creature that I can see. So
Okay, so then 7 damage.
all right. Got it.
I want you to know I'm not cheating or targeting you. I'm using a D3 to see who he attacks. So
That's what I figured when you said that's just great luck. I figured you were rolling for it.
all right, so then next is Thurgan.
All right, so Thurgan has closed the distance, and he's got his battle axe out, and he goes ahead and takes 2 swings at the snake's head. Let's see, the first is 17 plus 6, so yeah, that hits, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the second one, oh, it's a natural 1.
Oh gosh. All right, so let's deal with first things first. So the one that you hit.
Okay, so that is only 5 slashing damage.
All right, so then that's fine. So that's okay.
How can our first crit be a crit fail?
yeah, that was bad.
Yeah. So then essentially you're able to whack it with your sword the first time, and on the I guess on the backswing, the bone snake catches your sword in its mouth and breaks it in half.
Oh no. Okay.
I did warn you. I was planning on having this be, rather deadly.
Oh yeah.
So your sword.
Says the people that haven't been hurt yet.
I mean,
that's true. Yeah, so my battle axe is destroyed. All right, good to know.
Yeah, he catches your battle axe in his bony mouth, and he closes the bones, and it just completely breaks in half. All right, so then Regram.
All right, so I clicked my unmute 3 times and it didn't unmute. So, bleeding and bloody after the beating he's taken already. Ragram's going to use his cunning action to disengage, and I'm going to try to move and find some kind of cover and hide. If I'm going to roll a stealth check or whatever, I'm going to try to use the distraction of Thargren's blade getting the blade of his axe getting caught in the snake's mouth and breaking off. While that's happening, Ragram's going to try to just kind of slink away, disengage, and get in some cover and try to reload his crossbow if possible.
Okay. So you can completely disengage now. Just like every other room, the tree trunks in each of these areas are pretty much trunk to trunk, so there's no way of going like into the forest. The
Can I
only real place that you can hide is either behind the throne or somehow in the bones that you don't know whether or not are a part of this thing's body or not.
I was gonna ask if I could slip behind the throne, anyways.
Yeah. All right, that's fine. So you're able to get back there.
All right, I don't think I have any, unless I can do all that with just my cunning action. I believe that's my turn.
Yeah.
Well, it
Perfect.
would have to be because I'm going to try to reload my crossbow too. So,
Yeah.
do I need to do that
exactly.
on the next turn, or can I do that this turn as well?
For the disengage or action, I'm kind of considering as the hiding. So then,
Okay.
Reloading, you're able to reload this turn. It's fine.
Gotcha.
All
I'm going to
right.
get behind that throne and pop another bolt in my crossbow and just get ready for my next attack.
Perfect, Aaron.
Okay. Now I'm really, really nervous. So as Aaron sees that he has missed his sword attack with his sword, well, obviously sword attack with his sword, he's gonna um, put back his shield. I don't know if that will count as a move or something, so I could be able to do something else and then attack.
So what exactly are you trying to do before you attack?
Well, I would what I it's just that I noticed that I have a feat with my being a fighter. I have dueling, and while I wield a melee weapon in one hand and no other, I get a +2 bonus on damage roll. So what I want to do is like put back my shield and stick with my sword because my sword it is a melee weapon, and see if I can take that, give that damage and that extra +2 bonus damage.
Okay, so you're trying to be meta. Cool. Um,
So
yeah, that's fine.
okay, so then Aaron saw this snake attack his friend. He just um, worried that it was coming towards him. He just take cover, noticing what just happened, puts back his shield, takes up his sword, runs towards, because I assume it's still fairly in the area near
Mhm.
him. So, a question: how tall is the snake, the bow snake?
So essentially, it's hard to tell necessarily how tall it is, because it's a matter of like all the bones that are like lying across the floor. You don't know if it's a part of the thing's body or not. The thing is a little bit taller than you guys as of right now, but
Okay,
you don't know how tall. You know how tall I guess it can get.
yeah, because we saw the snake form of the bones, and it could obviously take up some other bones and just, hey, gonna take this one too and make myself bigger or whatever. So he's he Aaron would like to try and run towards the snake uh, through his well, up his back and try and jam the sword in the snake's head. Is it
Okay.
possible?
That's an oddly specific thing to try and do. If you roll high enough, I'll let it happen, but it'll just be a flavor thing if you don't roll high enough.
Hmm.
I mean, so flavor means it technically happens, but it doesn't like have any like bonus effect.
Yeah, no, I'm not trying to make it like for the how also, I don't want to make what I say give me bonuses, so just want to make it for, like you said, for the flavor of it, like make it cool or something.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so then I would roll for it and see
Yeah,
if
you
I
wrote a attack.
and see if I get then my attack. Let's see then. So it's an 11,
All right, you're not able to hit.
and I don't know if it could be possible, but I just want to make the attack. But can I use my inspiration then?
You can re-roll if you use your inspiration. Yes.
Okay, then I'll put this back to 0, and I'm gonna re-roll and see if I this time get it. Oh my goodness, no! It's a 7.
Okay. All right.
So
So yeah, still doesn't hit.
so I think I imagine this it will look a little like this. He will run towards the safe, and at the first bone that he tries to step on, when he goes to the second, he just goes back, slips in. Slips out and like goes sideways towards I don't know, like, and when he hits the ground, he's like eye to eye from where he is seeing the snake. He's like, oh crap.
All right. So then we're back at the top of the order. So let me see who probably should have.
Maybe somebody else will get hit this time.
Yeah. So now it's gonna go after Aaron.
Yeah, thought so.
and it completely misses. 5. So you got spared. So then it kind of just like re-huddles. So it kind of moves closer to the throne and kind of like starts spinning around in the circle, kind of like making himself a little bit taller as his movement. All right, Thurgan.
All right. Besides the sword that's stuck up in around the throne, are there any weapons lying around the bones that I can see? Besides my broken battle axe.
Give me a perception.
All right. That is a 6.
Oh gosh. So you see a bone and
Okay.
another bone
All
and another bone.
right. Can I get to the sword that's at the throne, the one that we're looking for, and try to pull it out?
Sure.
All right.
So a strength check, if you don't mind.
All right. This is all right. I got all my low rolls out. This is what I need to.
You can do it.
14.
All right. Yeah. So you're able to pull it out.
Sweet.
And as you pull it out of the skeletal, or out of the skeleton, the skeleton sitting down in the seat's eyes become fire.
Oh, not so sweet.
The bones around the throne begin to fill in all the broken bones on the skeletal being. You start to hear the cracking of the jaw as it kind of, realigns itself. And as it stands up, it reaches out to grab you. And that is where we're going to end tonight's session.
Oh.
What? Woo!
Oh man.
I just know that you guys are on some time constraints, and then I figured that was a pretty decent cliffhanger.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Man.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, my bad, guys, but I got this cool sword.
I hope you can use it pretty quick.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking.
Although-
I hope he uses fast enough to like cut this thing's head.
Although I am behind the throne, so maybe if I'm nice enough to the DM, I'll get a attack of opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah, what kind of sword is this?
It's a sword made out of a broken battle axe.
It's the blades of all the broken battle axes, forged by the fiery flames of the tears of those who have
Yeah.
lost.
Just epic sword. Epic sword.
So if we end up playing again, because I don't know if we'll continue this, because I did say I would leave it as a one shot, unless you guys, of course, you guys want to continue it. If we decide to continue it, then I'll stand out the sword and give it to you.
Okay.
I'm down for it if you guys are.
I mean, I kind of want to use the sword and crush some skeletons.
I want to see it. I want to see that. Yeah, I want to see that happen. So I'm down for it also. I really wanted to like try before attacking. I was thinking of, do I give one of my hand axes to Theron? And I was planning on like throwing it from the other side, like catch, and forget about attacking because it wasn't focused on like other people. It was like straight on Ragrim.
Yeah, no
twice.
kidding.
I was gonna try and use that, and actually try and use my extra attack or my